Hi guys, and thank you for taking a few moments to watch this week's video. Well, this video came about from a recent trip I had. I travelled interstate, and because I travel a little bit for work, well, I'm allowed to access one of the airport lounges. Many of you will have access to these, or if you've been fortunate enough to travel in business class, you get access to these lounges. Now, I love it. But I love everything about travel. I love the airports, I love the experience, I love being on the plane, and obviously I love the destination. But when you spend a bit of time in the airport lounges, you notice that, well, they're not the healthiest environments. The key word there is the environment. Now, if you're like me and you like a bit of people watching, you'll notice some things that happen without fail in every single airport lounge. And I got to thinking, well, how is this impacting people's productivity and their well-being? It's absolutely negatively impacting their productivity and their well-being. So how can you make this experience, how can you make this lounge access experience a healthy experience? So for me, this is my 3 keys. If you do travel quite regularly for fun or for work, and you do access a lounge, well, I would suggest you tackle these 3 things. These 3 things that are going to help make that experience a healthy experience and not succumb to the negativity of the environment around you. So the first one is this: alcohol. Anyone would think it is a milestone birthday every day of the week and every hour of the day in an airport lounge. What do I mean? I mean, it could be 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday and people are throwing back 4, 5, 6 wines or beers. The level of drinking that happens in an airport lounge astounds me. Now, maybe they're going on a holiday. Maybe they're celebrating a big win. But I would suggest it just becomes the norm, or almost the expectation of, well, I'm in the lounge, it's free, I might as well. But I would suggest that you step back from that, reevaluate that environment, that pattern, that routine, that habit of excessive drinking in a lounge. I mean, my question is this: when you get to the other end, are you meant to be driving home as well? So when you are in the lounge, absolutely, have a wine, have a beer with a meal, fantastic. But it's the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drinks that I see people throw back without a care in the world. Not obviously just the health impacts that comes with excessive alcohol, because I would suggest that's not the only day of the week that that individual is drinking. But what about productivity? Because, well, when we're in a lounge, we're often trying to do work at the same time. Now, sitting down at your laptop and doing some work when you've had 3, 4, 5, 6 alcoholic drinks, well, productivity is not going to be high. Also, the possibility of making errors will be high. But then what about the impact to sleep? When you arrive at your destination and you've had that much alcohol under the belt, your sleep will be impacted. So my first tip is this: steer away from excessive alcohol when you're in a lounge. Absolutely, share a drink with friends or colleagues, but then perhaps look to soda water with fresh lime or perhaps a splash of bitters. There is always an array of teas. Some green tea, peppermint tea, chamomile tea. Try a tea instead. Now, if it's before 2 o'clock, there's often now an in-house barista. Now, I'm not a coffee snob, but I actually find these coffees pretty good. So have a coffee instead. So number 1, avoid the excessive alcohol consumption in a lounge. The second one is this. Now, this could be an entire documentary to itself. And well, hey, comment below if you want me to do a video on my actual experience in the lounge. And it's with food. Look, it's better than it used to be. There's some healthier options there. But still, I would say carb caution. Now, how you choose to eat should be specific to you. I always encourage that. But there's some basic clean eating ideas. And I look around and everything is, well, carb heavy. Now, I don't want to go demonizing carbohydrates, but if you've had a pile of sandwiches or those wraps, do you feel perhaps a little more lethargic and tired afterwards? I know I do. I get the nods. So my first hack when it comes to food is, well, I will get a pile of wraps and I will scrape the contents of that ham and chicken salad wrap onto a plate and consume that. I'll throw the wraps away. I encourage you to try this. Grab 2 or 3 or 4 wraps, which you might typically just eat in a normal sitting. Pile those wraps up, and when you see how much is on a plate, you'll start to realize why you feel so tired after you've consumed that level of carbohydrates. So sandwiches and wraps, I'll actually take the contents out and create a little bowl of amazingness. Ham, chicken, salad. But salad. Every lounge will typically have a salad bar. I would rather have 3 or 4 bowls of a salad with some tomatoes and lettuce and whatever they have available. 3 or 4 bowls of salad. Now, that's low calorie. So you will perhaps need to top that up with some proteins and some fats, but if that's the healthiest option available to you, I would take some salad every day of the week over piles of wraps and sandwiches. Perhaps look at what the hot food options are as well. Now, they often have little mini pies and sausage rolls and burgers, and they're wonderful things. But again, if you're doing this frequently, well, that adds up over time, especially if you're doing back-to-back trips. I know that I've flown on a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If you're having that sort of food back-to-back, day in, day out, it does collectively make a difference. But sometimes they will have things like an Indian meal. Something like a butter chicken, for example, will find its way into most airport lounges. Now, we don't know what's in every butter chicken, but you can always ask. But at its core, it should be chicken, coconut cream, and some spices. So I will take that, I'll drain off a little bit of the sauce, that's personal choice, and perhaps just put a small amount of rice with it. It's a cleaner option than going for those burgers and those pies and sausage rolls. So have a look at the food available to you. Take those salad options, create something yourself, or scrape the contents out of those sandwiches and just eat that. Don't fear food, but just think about, this might be day 2 or 3 or 4 of eating those burgers. Perhaps I look for a healthier alternative. The third way I make an airport lounge a healthy experience is, the environment. They're typically very busy, pretty loud, and filled with people on calls, doing work, having conversations, swilling drinks, and it can become, quite overwhelming. My tip would be, find a corner of the lounge, the furthest away from the food, the entrance, and the alcohol. A quiet corner away from all that chaos. Set yourself up there, whether it's to be super productive doing work stuff, or what I will do is find that peaceful corner, put my headphones on, and spend 10 to 15 minutes perhaps doing some meditation or breath work. The first time I tried it, I was kind of fearing what people might be thinking or saying with a guy with his eyes closed and headphones on. But over time, I quickly got to the point of going, I don't care. So I would recommend you find that quiet corner in a lounge. Put your headphones on, put some guided meditation on, do some breath work, and use that just to down-regulate. Whether it's down-regulating, calming before you get on the flight, or even after a flight, go into the lounge and find that corner and just down-regulate before you start your day. Guys, I love to travel, I love the whole experience with it, but airport lounges can become overwhelming. And when you do it frequently, can cause long-term health impacts when you fall into that trap of excessive drinking, high carb consumption or processed foods, and just the stress that comes with volumes of people and loudness day in, day out. So guys, watch the alcohol. Choose teas, choose soda water over excessive alcohol. Make those healthy food choices. Create something yourself with the bar that's available to you. I forgot, even with breakfast in a lounge. Now, I would often go to scrambled eggs. Again, I would ask someone if it is actually just egg. If it's powdered egg, well, I would steer clear. But there's often coconut yogurt and fruit. Now, I would take that every day of the week over the pancake machine. So there's always healthier alternatives. And thirdly, find that quiet corner for self. Guys, keep well, keep safe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.